What's up, NIO family? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO and the overall markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. Anyways, as far as NIO is going, we have a double top leg structure as we're seeing this downtrend. But NIO is trying to base right over here, although it could be pushing a little bit lower to about the 3.3s. We could be looking for a nice rebound once we start to see this base because of some good news that just came out. NIO is once again setting the stage for its own chip spinoff. And that's some great news because this would allow them to potentially create a separate company that could be supplying other chips to different automotive firms. This could be bullish for them as time goes on. This is a very, very good piece of news. However, this is still a minor piece of news relative to what's going to be affecting us a lot more. That's going to be profitability. As far as NIO is going, there's an increased competition in China, which does make things a bit harder for them. But until we get to profitability, we're going to be looking for moves like this. It may take many months, if not another year, by the time we are profitable. So, like I said before, this is more of a marathon and less of a fast race, less of a sprint. Excuse me. So keep that in mind, at least for NIO moving forward. For other pieces of news, just know that Goldman Sachs gave NIO a neutral rating. There's nothing else changing in terms of our data. The market was flat today. Some tickers were in the green, but most were kind of flat or in the red. We did see a somewhat red close. We're going to see if the market could bounce at these levels or not. So be very, very patient as time goes on. Now, going into next week on Monday, we have for the U.S. markets the S&P Global Composite Manufacturing and Services PMI reports, and then on Tuesday we have Jerome Powell giving a testimony in front of the House Finance Committee, and then he's going to be doing that in front of the Senate as well, the Senate Committee on Wednesday. So keep that in mind. We have Jerome Powell giving a speech on Tuesday, and then Wednesday. On Thursday, we have very minor data, and then I think that on Friday we have the PCE inflationary numbers. We'll see what those end up looking like as we're expecting a slight increase, so we'll see how that ends up going as well. So that being said, what's going to happen to the future? Right now, President Trump and the team, they're basically weighing in on whether or not the U.S. is going to be striking Iran. For now, there's a 2-week deadline that they have set because of the fact that Iran have said that they're open to negotiating in the White House. So they're waiting for this, but they are open to the possibility of having to strike the nuclear facilities. This is kind of like a map of them. So we'll see how that goes. On top of this, there is some good news, however. So as we're seeing things leaving, I just want to say that President Trump's overall trade ambitions with India and Pakistan, they remain, and he's saying there could be a deal coming very soon. On top of this, we have Jerome Powell, who is going to be speaking in front of the House and the Senate's committees. And then this is what earnings look like as we have very minor earnings like FedEx and a few more as time goes on. So what's happening to NIO? NIO could be dipping a little bit, and we'll have to see if we get some kind of rebound move. We could be looking towards this like 3.36 area, and we'll see if buyers defend right over here or not. If we see a small dip and a bounce, that could be leading us to like 3.5 or above, so we'll see if we get that bounce. But I do think it's going to be kind of consolidating. We're going to be trying to base it around 3.3, so a little bit more downside before this tries to see a rebound for 3.6. As far as SPY goes, although we have dipped, we're currently back above 595. If we could hold here, we're going to see if we could get a bounce back up early next week before it continues to fall, or if we're about to fall lower. If we lose 592.5, we're looking more bearish, but if we could get bought back up here, we're looking for a bounce. My gut tells me that we're still technically in this range, and there might be buyers that try to push us next week before it tries to turn back down again, as we're still range bound. Even for the QQQ, we technically closed above 527, or we're actually above 527 right now in the after hours. And if we hold this support right here around 525, we're looking for a rebound for the 530 area. If 525 fails us, though, we could be dumping, so we'll see if we get a bounce. On the IWM, we're going to see if we could break 210 to push back up. If we lose 208, we're looking for a dump, but overall there is potential to bounce. On ES, we're looking pretty good here. We're range bound. We like to bounce near 6,000, reject off 6,100. Looking to see if we bounce off 6,000 to push towards 6,050, so keep that in mind. NQ also has to bounce near 21,800. As long as it holds, we're looking for a rebound to 22,000. If we reject near 22,200, though, we could turn back down, but I do see some potential for a rebound. Bitcoin's also range bound here. We're going to see if 103,500 holds. If not, we're looking for a rebound as well. For Tesla, we're still consolidating. We did dip a bit, but we held supports. So we're technically in this range, and depends on the robotaxi event. If things go well for Tesla and this bounces, we're looking for a bullish move above 333. But for bearish, you want to see is essentially fill near 310. Could go either way. depending on how the reaction is after the robotaxi. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that on Sunday. They could be launching it. Nvidia looks kind of weak here, might be coming down a little bit more to fill this gap. We could be looking for like 142, and then we'll see if it bounces off that. Apple's looking a little bit strong. It started off on a weekend. It was very weak in the morning, but then we got some good news that came out, which is helping us essentially bounce. So I want to see if we could hold above 201. If we do, we're looking for 202.5, and that could help us rebound. That could help the market to some extent. For others out there, we have Coinbase. It started off with the dip only to rebound. We got to hold above 300 to continue to push for the 310s. If 300 fails us, we're looking for a dip back down to 294. So we'll see how it goes. But this does have upside potential. On Amazon, you want to see us hold 208. If that holds, we're looking for essentially 212. If we lose this, we could be dumping back down off a double top. So we got to hold 208 here to bounce. Meta also has to hold support right here at 680 to rebound, back up to 690. On Google, this has been dipping quite a bit. We're going to see if some buyers defend right here around this 168 area. If they do, we're looking for an attempt for 172.5. So hopefully we end up seeing that rebound move. And then finally, for Microsoft, we're looking for an attempt to push for basically 480 if we could hold our key support. So watch to see if we can reclaim 167 on Google. Sorry, I think my screen froze for a second. And then for Microsoft, we could dip a little bit, but then we have to see if buyers defend. We could be dipping just a bit towards 475. We'll see if buyers defend here. So I am seeing a little bit of weakness in some tech stocks. So we'll give this the time it needs. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your guys' days, and peace out.